All right. This is probably going to me be saying welcome to Sports Betting Weekly, but I have no idea if you're going to hear me.
I hear you.
John, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Did you guys hear the intro?
No,
I didn't hear.
I
All
did
right.
not.
So they have a really nice intro for the Wide World Sports Radio Network.
Yeah.
But it didn't play, so I don't know if it's my board or what it is. Technology gets the best of me more times than it doesn't. And I'm not afraid of technology, mind you. I really am not. I embrace new technologies, as a matter of fact. This will probably be our last show using Zoom. We're going to be sliding over to StreamYard. And I hadn't heard what StreamYard was until Dan from the DC show told me about it a few months back because they use it occasionally. So it is what it is. But golly gee, we've got some great music. I had some Vegas music. I had some commercial spots lined up. And I think we're going to just kind of wing it and see what happens. The worst thing that can happen is the technology's correct and we give out losers. Okay? I would rather, I got technology, I got winners. All right? You know where I'm going on that one all day long. So let's do this. Before I do anything, normally I've got you guys in the green room and I'll vent a little bit. Now, last week, I did have a lot of things built up, but then I got it off my chest when I talked to you guys on Thursday. And then Friday morning, I worked all day. Friday, I don't know, 4:30, just about sundown, I got in the back of a Toyota, a rented Toyota, because Cadillac wants you to buy a car sooner, so they make it crappy. Remember when Cadillac used to be the name? How the best margarita was a Cadillac. It was the Cadillac of lounge chairs. Whatever the item you bought, the reference was Cadillac. Well, guess what? Those days are over. And that's the bottom line. So we took a Toyota. I didn't get much handicapping done, but in the two contests I was in, the Blackout Pod has an NCAA contest. I was number 1, 12-2. And then the prop meet contest, I was number 1, 9-1. I cashed so many tickets to Vegas. Now, I got to tell you a story. A lot of you guys don't know this. Some of you that have bet with me know this. John has bet with me before. He may not know it, but I always cash my tickets one at a time. And the reason I do that is I collect the change. And I started doing this many, many years ago when I went down to Caliente, because some days the only thing I came back with was the change. And so I started collecting the change. Well, what happens is a good friend of mine, the kiosk gypsy on Instagram, Ed, he collects bicentennial quarters. Now, you guys, I don't know. Wes, do you know what a bicentennial quarter is?
I mean, of course, I know what change is.
No, but my kid didn't know what a bicentennial quarter was.
Well, it's worth more than 25 cents, right?
Well, it's just that they minted them in 1976, and that's now a long time ago. So, yeah, it's going to be, 2016? That'll be 50 years, right?
Yeah, God, isn't that scary?
Yeah, it is scary. Well, I'm old. But anyway, so what I do is I cash a ticket. So when you are number 1 in a contest for college, Saturday you cash a lot of tickets. When you're number 2 or you're number 1 in the pros on Sunday, you cash a lot of tickets. When you got 2 guys that come on your Thursday show and they give you 4 winners, you cash a lot of tickets. When you go on a DC show and he gives you 4 more winners, you cash a lot of tickets. Literally, I was 21-3, and compared to you guys, I was in second place because you guys combined went 8-0. But here's what happens. Now, I don't know, did we lose John? We might have lost John, but he'll be back. I thought I saw him on the screen there for a minute, but I'll send them the new link. We started a new meeting just in case it was the meeting and not me, but it looks like it was me. But anyway, so here's what I do. I got the quarters. And I ended up with about $10 in quarters, which doesn't seem like much. But if you've ever left a casino with nothing, $10 in quarters makes you a rich man. You can buy a hot dog and a beer, for heaven's sakes. All right, so that was it was just such a special weekend. And I got to tell you now, Wes, you've not made it out. I know I've got a picture of you in our social media post somewhere with Brad from Vegas. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we were at PH, and we were betting the ponies. It was not a football time of the year, or at least we were there like on a Wednesday or a Thursday night, but we were betting the ponies. And it keeps it fun. You bet $5, but every time you go up, they give you a drink ticket. So I mean, that can get away from you real quick.
And we will talk about drink tickets. And thank God that the Worldwide Sports Radio Network on Saturday show did not require a breathalyzer, because I may pass the COVID test, but I wasn't going to pass a breathalyzer test. That's for damn sure. And ironically, Tuesday morning, as we left town, we're having breakfast, and I look up, and in 6 minutes, the first race is going off from Parks. Now, I couldn't remember what Parks used to be called. It wasn't Parks. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, Philadelphia.
Okay.
Philadelphia Downs.
All right. And so I bet the 235. I bet the 235 exacta box and try box. As you mentioned, the drink tickets, it was $18. I gave the guy 20, said keep the change. He gave me 2 drink tickets, so I got 2 drinks for $2. And then the kids went on their way, and they disappeared. I have no idea. So I'm watching the race, and bada boom, bada bing. It comes out 235, just like I called it. Now, they were kind enough, and this is Vegas is different. Anywhere else, you ask for the form, they want money. In Vegas, They give you the form for free. So I had the form. I read the race, and so then they come back. Now they're showing the replays. And they said, oh, your race, Dad, who do you have? And I said, I've got the 235 box, any combination. And I'm watching the race, and I know it's the replay. They don't know the replay, and they're cheering. They're cheering for my horse. And they say to me, boy, you just hit the trifecta. You don't look that excited. And I told them, guys, that was the replay. But you know what? I turned $18 into $45, and I walked out the door of the casino.
That's not the best try if that's all it paid was $45.
No. It was it was Parks. It was a 6-horse field.
Yeah,
I think it was a 2-1, a 7-2, and maybe a 9-5 that ran 1, 2, 3. I think they ran in the order that were played. So it paid 6-1 though. So all you got to start saying, well, I know 6-1. So I got 30 something for 6.
But the beauty in this sports investing is the feeling of winning. You can't put a dollar amount on that. When you see those numbers and the ponies cross the line the way that they're supposed to for you, or when you see the touchdown that covers the spread, you can't put a dollar amount on it. I'm sorry. It's great to win. It's great to get paid, but there's this feeling of victory that you can't replace.
Well, no, I would imagine that's kind of why they have GA meetings, because people get hooked on that feeling. But for me, I had the feeling. As a matter of fact, at one point, because the 2 was the long shot, and he was rallying on the rail, and I thought, you know what? When you have a box, you want the higher odds to come up top. So I'm yelling, "Come on, 2! Come on, 2!" He didn't hear me, but he ran flat. But he finished in the money, and everything was good. And that's when they came back and said, "Golly, because they know that I don't get excited very seldom, because I'm not playing the game, I'm not calling the defense, I'm not calling the plays, so." I don't really get the kind of guy that you can see in most sports books throwing things and swearing and stuff. That's not me. But with the horses, I'll yell the number. I'll yell the number. A lot of times, actually, Wes, because we talk horses a lot, I don't know the name of the horse, so I can't yell his name. I have to yell his number. But so it was funny because they were excited for me, and I was happy to cash. But the bottom line is, they were a replay too late to see my actual emotions.
Well, they saw it, so you're all good.
No, and it was a great weekend. So we you've heard of the Circa, correct?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've been going to Vegas since the early 80s. A long time I've been going to Vegas. Never in 40 years of going to Vegas have I experienced an environment like the pool at Circa Las Vegas, or Las Vegas Circa, whatever they call it. It was imagine your best pool that you've ever been in Vegas with the screen from the Dallas Cowboys Stadium in it. And as wide as the screen is as wide as the bars are. It has a walk-up book. It was so well done that we're talking about that's where we're going to go for our next trip, because the pool was open. Most pools are closed. The pool was open. Now, don't get me wrong. It was a little nippy by the time halftime comes, and it's 5 o'clock at night on a roof in Vegas in the wintertime. But you stay in the water. It was 80 degrees. It was awesome. So it was really, because of cashing all the tickets, getting to spend some time with the kids. I got to meet up with Johnny D and John from GMF Sports Consultants, so I got to see some good old friends. It was a 10 out of a 10 as trips go. And Wes, can you ask for anything more than that?
Nope, you sure can't. And that's you let me know when that next trip is, because I'm ready to go. The wife works. The wife works from anywhere, so
yeah,
it's honey, let's go.
AFC NFC weekend. We call it our Better Way weekend. We've done it. This will be our 8th consecutive year, and we have fun. Now, we had a suite this time, and that extra room makes a difference. It really changes the way, because you don't have to sit on a bed to watch a game. You can actually sit on a couch. It was just really a good time. It was a good time. So I want to shout out to Westgate. Now, the Westgate used to be the biggest sports book in the world, and now supposedly Circa is. But I'm telling you, the Westgate does some things better than Circa, but the Westgate don't got a pool on the top either. But Jay Corning's guys over at the Westgate, they have always treated us there. Well, we've gone there. We haven't stayed there every year of the 7 years, but we've gone there every year of the 7 years, and every year they have a grill, a sports book bar and grill in the back, that the food was better than what I ate at the restaurant at the MGM. And it's one of those places where you walk up, they give you a number, and then they call your number and you come get your food kind of place. I had 4 or 5 things here. They were all good. The Philly cheesesteak was a good, I'm not talking about Philadelphia, there's 2 cheesesteak places on the corner. I'm not talking that. No, it wasn't that good, but it was really, really, really good. So, all right. So let's see where we're at now. John looks like he's here, so I'm going to let him in. And there he is. And again, I do apologize about the technical difficulties, but here's the thing. Honestly, if you're coming to this show for the music and the intros and the commercials, you know what? They really, I think you got the wrong show. You need to be coming to this show for what we bring to the table, and those are the winners. So let me unmute John.
There we go.
He goes. So John, where are you?
We are at Barcourt Sagos, which is north, I guess considered Summerlin area, kind of near that Red Rock Casino almost. So we're here tonight kind of watching the games. They're doing actually a giveaway, some promotional. So we're here to check out what they're giving away over here tonight.
Now, they're giving it away like a radio station or somebody else?
They're giving it away. There's allegedly a 10K giveaway. I'm not really sure exactly what that entails. But I'm kind of giving them some free promotion there.
There you go. Well, it says ask me how. I guess all you got to do is ask,
That's right. That's all you got to do. Yeah. So ask and you get 10K.
So I said the same thing to Wes. I apologize about the confusion with the opening. We're on our second Zoom call, our Zoom meeting. We don't have any intro. I guess we're not going to have any spots. I'll try one more time when it's time for a break to do the spots. But I really didn't have to vent much this week because of the fact that I got to talk to you guys Thursday and to talk to the other guys Saturday. But what I want to do is just talk about your weekend, because I know like Wes, you were perfect. And think about it, you both were perfect. You were 2-0 each, combined 4-0. Dan on the DCs was 4-0 as well, so that's 8-0. Now I couldn't do an 18 parlay because one of the bets was Wes's bet to have the Coastal Carolina team total over, and they won't let that merge as a parlay. But I ended up hitting a 4-teamer. I hit a couple 2-teamers, but I'm a straight better, and I cashed enough tickets that I got like $10 in quarters. And as you know, not every ticket has changed. Sometimes you bet 20 to win 40, but a lot of times you'll bet 20 to win 36.55. And I cashed a lot of tickets, but we got to spend some time together, John, and it was really a good time. We had a good time. Thank you for coming by.
Oh yeah, thank you. It was always great to see you guys. Obviously, always good to kind of link up, especially when you're in Vegas. So we actually had a good time. We watched some pretty good games. That Florida game, that kind of semi bad beat there with Tennessee, where they scored that touchdown. Well, what about 10 seconds left in the end of the game? I remember that was brutal. But overall, it was a good day. Solid day in college. Kind of tailed some of Wes's plays, and then I kind of steamrolled that into the Sunday and Monday. So we actually put together a semi-decent, good weekend, which was pretty nice.
Yeah, and that's all it's about. Now, so let's talk about GMF Sports Consultants. And then so here's I apologize. I had an entire a lineup set that, of course, is now ruined by the technological difficulties. But so what I want to do is we're going to do an A to Z today with the NFL, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through every team in alphabetical order, and I'm going to bounce back and forth between the three of us. So we'll start with Wes, and then John, and then me, and then Wes and John and me. And we're going to go through until we're done with every single team. And the reason I'm bringing it up now is I want you to be thinking about it. It's going to be a one-word answer. Now, I have a button that we could hit, which is a buzzer, if you give more than one answer, but if you can't hear any of the other audio clips, you're not going to hear the buzzer anyway. So that's good. What we're going to do later in the show, we're going to do A to Z, NFL A to Z, every single team in alphabetical order. And you guys are going to give me a one-word description of that team. And I don't care what you're describing. You could be describing their history this week, the season, whatever you want, but I just want one word. But before that, we're going to talk to John about this weekend, and then we're going to talk to Wes about this weekend, because we talked about my weekend. My weekend is special because anytime you travel where sports betting is legal, when you live in California and the politicians have their heads squarely, firmly placed up their asses, then you don't have a chance to do what I did last weekend. So it's real fun. So we're going to do that. We're going to start with John. And so, John, what you're going to do is just to fill me in. Now, I was with you Saturday, but we didn't really talk a lot about the action you had. You told me a few of your plays. So Saturday, what was the one thing you remember besides the Florida-Tennessee beat?
Saturday, and then obviously the next thing would come into play would be that Coastal Carolina game. That was, at the previous show, Wes talked about that as he obviously tails him. And, it was just amazing how they kind of showed up and played that game. They looked very, very good that game. So I was pleasantly surprised. I haven't really watched them personally, but just watching them during those, couple plays versus BYU, they looked pretty solid against a very good BYU team. I know it was kind of a last-minute expectation matchup, but I was really pleasantly surprised about how they handled that whole game that day.
Yeah, my Aztecs have to play BYU this week, so I got a feeling they're going to get spanked because BYU's got to come back with an attitude. All right, so John, let's talk about your Sunday, because I saw you Saturday, but I didn't see Sunday. But I know you gave us two winners. You gave us Green Bay and then the over in the Monday night game. So talk about Sunday. What's one or two of the plays or games that you really they made you feel good on Sunday?
Sunday we kind of had a couple teasers to play it safe. We were one of them was on the Colts, which obviously they look good, and then the other one that I didn't really like so much was the Titans. I was on the Titans in another teaser that day, and I was just disappointed about how they played versus the Cleveland Browns. I mean, that first half was just atrocious. It was painful to watch, especially if you were a Tennessee Titan better. It was very, very brutal. You know, they kind of made some plays in the second half and, you know, maybe a couple late garbage runs, but I was just honestly shocked about how that game went, specifically the first half. I was like, wow, this unbelievable. And if I'm correct, I think Tennessee was home too. I'm not exactly sure. So it was just shocking just to see that.
No, that was Cleveland Brown record setting. And you know what's funny, because we were watching that in the suite. It wasn't the game that was on, but we got our bets in. We were going upstairs, and they kept scoring.
Yeah,
I kept scoring, and so Chaz kept saying, "Oh, we should hop on Tennessee Live," and they kept scoring, and finally, it's like 38-7 or something. And he hopped on him in the second half, and it was really actually an easy winner in the second half. But when I saw that game, it reminded me of the Patriot game. When I saw the way the Patriot game went to the halftime, it scares you away sometimes, because maybe they're just not showing up at all. Now Tennessee made an effort, and if you see the scoreboard, that's not what the game looked like.
Yeah, for sure. That, like I said, they had a couple very late touchdowns that made it look a little bit closer if you kind of were just glancing at the scores and didn't really watch the game. But I mean, Baker looked exceptionally well. The Browns defense looked very good. You know, Henry didn't look the same Henry as we used to. I believe he had a fumble and just some misplays on that. So yeah, it was shocking to see that one. But my main play for that day was the Packers. I kind of held myself out for that night game, which, you know, worked out very good. There was also kind of a little sketchy play with that at the end. Might have been a late backdoor cover, but we had a nice run, you know, late in the fourth quarter to get that. So that was close, but you know, the Packers were my main play and it worked out for us.
Well, yeah, but if you'll remember, because I was in the sports book, and you saw some emotion, because I left the room and it was 20-3, I think, is when I left the room. And I got downstairs and it was 20-16. Now, the Westgate is a pretty big property, like most of them are. And so you got to walk all the way down to the elevators, and then you got to go downstairs. You got to walk all the way. As you both know, in the old days of sports betting, because sports betting isn't that profitable for the casinos, they put them in the back, really in the back. And so I had no idea what happened. They filled me in, and now at this point, I'm giving 8.5. I'm losing. But then, of course, they came back, and that guy had a 77-yard, and it was one of the most incredible 77-yard runs. It wasn't where he broke free and ran 77 yards. He had to stop and go again and stutter and spin, and he was literally all the way down from the 10-yard line making moves just to get into the end zone. And we all know in sports betting, guys, just if they get tackled at the 2, you're not guaranteed anything.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what I was screaming the whole way. Just punch it in, because I'd obviously rather have them score 6 right there instead of going through the whole drama of trying to get that in. Because like you said, you never know, you know, a couple runs, a missed pass, and then all of a sudden they're just thinking about, you know, kicking the field goal because it's late in the game. You know, the Packers don't necessarily, you know, worry about covering, but us as bettors, you know, we want that cover, especially when we're at that 8 number, you know.
No, I've said that many times to people with me. You know, the coach don't care, and Wes talks about it all the time. You get a W whether you're 1 point ahead or 77 points ahead. It's one W. It counts for one win. But before we talk to Wes about his weekend, I got to tell you the story about your overplay. So what happened is, I had Pittsburgh and the under, and Buffalo and the over, and so the kid said to me, "How could you bet that?" They wouldn't let me bet that. I said, "What do you want?" And I showed him my ticket. "Oh, no, we wanted Pittsburgh in the over." I said, "Oh, well, they probably think Pittsburgh in the over is going to be the bet, so they wouldn't let you bet it." And that's really that house advantage kicking in. But I had Pittsburgh in the under in the first half, which is an easy winner. Not so much for the game, but I had it in the first half. So then we're at Wolfgang Puck's restaurant in the MGM. And we're eating and we're watching that first half. Now, if you'll remember that first half, there were 2 goal line stands. And when you have the over, and not one team, but two teams get stopped inside the 5-yard line on both ends of the field. That's like 14 points. It's killing you.
Yeah, that was brutal. I thought right there, even though I knew it was early, I was like, that's such a killer, because having the ball that close and not score, two times is crazy. So like you said, that's 14 points taken off the board.
Well, even six. If you got a quick 6 points, you got the over, you'll take 6 points. We got a goose egg. But here's what happened. They get the ball back, and they got about a minute and a couple timeouts. I'm talking about Buffalo, and it's 14-7. So Buffalo's going to win, even if San Francisco scores a touchdown, because I'm getting 1.5 with Buffalo. But the Wolfgang Puck TVs are a play ahead of us with our TV at our table, watching it on our phone. But you couldn't see the TV. We knew it as soon as we came in and we settled down. We knew they were ahead of us because we saw a play as we walked to our table that we then saw on our phone. So we knew they were play ahead. And this is probably maybe, like I said, a minute and a half left in the first half. Well, my kid can't handle it. He can't handle the fact that he knows if he wins or loses 30 seconds earlier, so he doesn't even sit with us. He's watching the game over by the bar for 30 seconds because it was a 30-second delay. But then they punched it in. They got that big field goal, and it was a 4-teamer for me.
Yeah, the second half obviously was such big going back and forth from both teams. Yeah, I was a little worried that first half. I think on the second, fourth, when they got stopped on fourth, I forgot. I think there was a fumble, and then they got the ball back and kind of scored. So that almost kind of made up for that second stop a little bit.
Right, they did. They had a quick turnover, but
which kept that in the game.
Once that, and I had Buffalo, but I would have not had that over. My son had a huge parlay. He had like a C-note 2-teamer and a $200 2-teamer for the game. And he bet it because I told him Buffalo and you told him the over. So we did win somebody money.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
All right, Wes, I got to think the highlight for you was, because what's it been now, 7 weeks that you've been preaching Coastal Carolina. You go out and you're buying their swag and wearing their hats and their shirts and stuff. But so I got to think that was probably the number one highlight of your weekend, or Saturday, of Saturday. Did I lose him?
I think we might have lost him.
Well, he was there.
Yeah,
he was there. Let's see what he says. So yeah, I mean, because he's been talking Coastal Carolina literally for 7 weeks or so. Oh, he said he was frozen.
Oh.
So let's see if he can get back in.
Let's see if we get him. Yeah, I had some issues too with it being frozen. I kind of had a log back in. I didn't know if it was just where I'm at the Wi-Fi or not. So.
No, you never know.
Thank you so much.
And it's the same thing when I talk to the DCs on their show on Saturday nights. There's streaming issues, but you know what? Think about when we're watching football when it's streaming and the ball's about to land in the guy's hands, and then it streams and it just stops.
And it stops.
and you don't know if he caught it or not, you know?
Yeah, that happens to me at home all the time. I have the Sling TV, which is kind of like an internet-based app TV, and I love it because it's relatively cheap. But I mean, sometimes these glitching issues, and it's always when it's like kind of like an important play, and you're like, oh my god.
It's so true. It does seem like they know.
Fails.
They know.
Oh, they always know.
All right, so I'm not sure where he's at. So so what we're gonna do is let me see here if by any chance I can get these commercials to play.
All right. Try them out.
Now you're not hearing anything, right?
Yeah, I'm not hearing anything. I can hear you, but I can't hear any audio, any other audio, anything like that. But I hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what we were supposed to do here, and I tell you what, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go here. So Wes is trying to get back in. So there was a There's a karate. Let's see here. We'll play this ad. Let's see if that comes up. I feel bad because these fine businesses. There's an insurance company, a karate company, a financial planner. We've got all their spots here, but I can't get the audio to work. So
Oh yeah.
I'm not quite sure what's happening. So let me do this. Let me see. Oh, here we go. We got him back in. So Wes,
I'm back.
we're trying to play the commercials. We got a financial company, an insurance company. We got a karate studio, and I
Can you
feel
hear
real
me?
bad. Yeah, no, we can hear you fine.
Okay,
We can hear you
good.
fine.
Yeah, we got you. Yep.
But we can't hear the spots from those fine businesses. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a mental note. Actually, I'm gonna even write it down. And what I'll do is tomorrow I'll make sure and create some kind of spot for them that I can do on social media because I couldn't play their spots tonight. I feel bad. See, now if Petey was here, Petey's the producer for a lot of the shows, and he's the guy that helps me on the back end. Those ads would be already playing. So
Yeah.
but what are you gonna do? All right, so
We need Petey.
yeah, no, Speedy Petey. But someday he'll be helping us. All right, so one of the things we always do is we always talk about the live action on the Thursday Night Football. Last week, of course, we didn't have it. Next week is our last show before the holiday break because we are not going to talk on Christmas Eve. We are not going to talk on New Year's Eve. Now, I'm saying we're not going to talk. We're not going to talk on Zoom so the audience can hear us and watch us. But we're gonna talk because we talk throughout the week. There's about a dozen of you guys from the show that I talk with every week. Not everybody bets all the time. And a couple of the guys like Tom Vasco, he's been ill and he's had some surgeries and stuff. So when life's throwing you curveballs, sports betting's really not high in your agenda. I've had a few of those times in my life, so I appreciate it. But it looks like here that the Rams are up 7-0.
Yep.
Now, I told everybody that would listen to me in Vegas, I'm talking total strangers. Wes says, don't bet Thursday night, don't bet Sunday night, don't bet Monday night. One of them actually asked me who Wes was, and I said, Blackhawk Wes. And he goes, tell him to stick to hockey. But again, drink tickets will make strange bedfellows, will they not?
It always does. That's what happens. You want to kind of get in the action on the game, especially Thursday night NFL. Like I said, I see it more often than not than majority of bettors. If the game's on TV, they got to bet it, which is not always the best mentality to have, especially if you want to kind of do this professionally or if you're looking at this as a second income type deal. You got to learn how to pick and choose your spots. But
well, it's so funny because I told you guys I trust you, but I broke Wes's rule. Well, first of all, I'm in Las Vegas. I'm betting Sunday night. I'm betting both. I'm betting if the rabbit and the dog ran through the casino, I'd be betting on the number of the dog. But I went down, so I'm watching Christmas movies in the suite. Now understand, I'm in a suite, so it's a pretty nice setup. I'm watching Christmas movies, and I got the TV on mute with the game. And I go down because there's no way Kansas City's not going to score 20-something points in the second half, right? They've been kicking field goals. And the next day I said, you know what? I got dressed to lose that bet. I got dressed. I went downstairs, made the bet, went back upstairs, got undressed, got back in bed. I had everything I needed. Life was pretty good just to lose that bet. So I should have listened to Wes, but I didn't.
Yeah, sometimes a no bet is the best bet. But, when you're in Vegas, different situation for you. You were here visiting, you got the games on, you got your son with you and some, friends. So you got to kind of have a little bit of action.
I was cashing a lot of tickets. So, I wasn't playing with house money. You know me. It's no such thing as house money. I was playing with my money because once they give it back to you, it's your money. But and I wasn't betting enough that I was going to swear about it. And the fact that I got back to back, it went from Rudolph to Frosty to the Santa Claus, back to back to back on the Disney Channel, now Freeform. That it was still worth it. But so Wes, we were talking about how you went out, you bought the swag, you've been pimping Coastal Carolina. They've won you money for like 2 months straight now, almost every single week. So I got to think that was the highlight of your Saturday.
Well, it wasn't the highlight, but I certainly cashed tickets on Coastal. What I liked on Coastal was the first half. We had talked about that last week. They've never not scored over 12 points in the first half. So, of course, that game got off early. But the way that they were playing the game, it just felt like this is Coastal's game. They were surgical when they needed to. So, I mean, that was great. And I jumped on some money line, and that was great. But the actual highlight of my Saturday was when I was sitting in a room full of people that were betting Bama left and right. I mean, Bama pregame spread, Bama left and right. Bama's lighting up the sky in the first half. And about 5 minutes to go in the second half, I said, I'm taking Bama under 67.5. And then very quickly it turned to 65.5. And to me, that's just common sense. And at that point, I don't remember. I think Bama had like 40 points on the board, 48 points, something like that in the first half. But you just got to use common sense. The last time we saw a team easily hang 70 points or 67 or even 65, Bama's scary because they've hung 63 twice this year. But we're talking Oregon Ducks 2014. So just pumping the brakes on that game and just watching them score only 10 in the second half because they didn't want to score 65 because they actually cared about me. It was a that was
911.
Right. That was probably my favorite moment of the Saturday because Coastal was great. I was excited about it. And the picks I post on my page, we actually had a 5-2 Saturday, which is a great weekend. But at the same time, just being able to pump the brakes on Bama and being ahead of that hook, that curve, it felt great. Normally you go with the momentum and ego tells you they're going to keep going. But intelligence says, what 67 points. I'm sorry, but there's college basketball teams that don't hang 67 points.
No, and we talk about it all the time with those big teams and those big spreads that when you get to Alabama, a few of the teams are a little different because we all know that the second stringers on Alabama were starting on the other teams that they play against. So that's the one thing. But you do get that, a lot of these coaches, they know each other. They worked together on staffs many years ago. They're friends, their families know each other. There is some emotion in it when you've got the better team. So calling off the dogs is the right thing to do. But again, not for those guys that bet over 67, right?
If it was Auburn, they would have kept going. But if it was Auburn, I have no doubt they would have hung 70. They would have hung 90. But so you asked the highlight of my Saturday. That was it. Just being controlled and disciplined in a room full of people that are all cheering, go, 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 and just pumping the brakes and proving them wrong. I mean, there were some side bets in there too. Some I'll owe you a cheeseburger type action going on. So I got a lot of cheeseburgers coming too.
Hey, you know what Wimpy says about cheeseburger. Hey, so let me ask you this though, because that game lasted forever. Because I had tickets to cash once that game was over, and every time I left the cartoon, the Frosty or whatever it was, to go, because they were all weekend it was Christmas movies, and they made fun of me. I said, you got to understand, I got tickets in my pocket. I can put on my pants and go downstairs and cash them if I want. I'm in a queen size bed with 4 pillows. I got rum and Coke, vodka 7. The only thing I didn't have was Christmas cookies. If I had Christmas cookies, I would have asked the Lord to take me home right now. That's how good of a weekend it was. But that game lasted forever. It just kept having time left in it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it did. Well, at that point, I was getting ready for that UCLA game because we had action in that first half of UCLA, which hit too.
All right, so Sunday. What was your highlights on Sunday? Now Sunday, did you give us plays for Sunday?
So the highlight for me of this past Sunday, no, I think I gave you the college plays last week, but but for me, I had 5 picks on my page and we went 3-2. But when you go 5-2 on Saturday and 3-2 on Sunday, you're looking at a pretty great week. But the 3 winners were not just dogs; they were outright dog wins. And so there's obviously some full bet and the points, but some side bet and the money line. And so that's probably the highlight of the Sunday is, we had Cleveland. I don't remember the other ones because I'm now looking forward, but Cleveland was one that we had money line and points. And, so Sunday was a great day in the sense of just finding really good value that gave you a good return on investment, and especially the cherry on the top when you got the money line too. So didn't hit any parlays or anything like that, but Sunday having all dogs outright win, that's a great Sunday.
No doubt about it. And the other aspect of those money lines is when you have a dog, if you don't have the money line, but you just have the dog, if you have the money line, the game might be a little close, but when you're getting points and your team is winning, it's hard to describe a less stressful win.
Yeah, it is. And actually, I now have it in front of me. It was the Giants, the Lions, and the Browns.
Yep.
And the Giants was probably the one that had me the most excited because I knew that they were going to cover 10.5. I thought they might keep it within a touchdown, but I did not think they would actually beat the Seahawks.
Yeah, the quarterback for the Seahawks went from MVP to LVP in about a month.
Well, his defense isn't doing him any justice, and he's been put in positions to where he has to be a hero, and that's not a good situation, And I live in Kansas City, and there's a lot of negativity about what the Kansas City defense is, but they don't put Mahomes in bad situations. Russell Wilson has to do too much because that defense just hasn't come together. So he's in a spot to turn the ball over, and they always seem to be in a position to where the other team knows Russell Wilson has to win the game. And so that was hard to watch if you were a Seahawks fan. If you were a sports investor, you just got to look at some of these records and think of where these teams are going to be. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, they're both 11-1. When's the last time we saw 16-0 or 15-1? So you look at both of these teams, and they probably got 2 or 3 losses coming, and it's just smart to look in that direction.
All right. So one of the things that we do on the show, you guys, we cover live action on Thursday Night Football. Now the Rams just kicked a field goal, so right now the Rams are up 10-0. I'm pretty sure when I looked, the first quarter was 9.5. I thought. You guys confirm that or?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the Rams and the over. Going forward, do you guys see anything different going to happen in that game?
Johnny, you want to go first?
As of right now, I don't really see anything different. I kind of expected this to kind of be, I don't want to say an ugly game, but kind of a ground and pound, similar situation. Cam Newton hasn't really thrown for too many yards. I think last week he threw for 93. If my stats are correct. And so this was kind of a typical game that I'm anticipating. Actually, 10 points is still 5. It looks like 5 minutes left. So that's kind of surprising because there was tremendous action on the under. Trends were leaning towards the under in this game. Me personally, I actually have them in a teaser in the under. So I'm kind of hoping they don't score too many points here. But it's kind of going typical of what I expect. I'm a little suspect of Goff too. He's one of those guys. It's, I like him, but it always seems like I'm not really sure exactly what, sometimes he plays good, sometimes he doesn't. But the Rams defense is solid, and you kind of got to expect the Patriots to kind of run the ball.
Ironically, both of these teams, because, with our easy sports data, we cover second halves a lot, hence my nickname. But the bottom line is I had both of these on my ticket to bet. And now the Patriots I backed off because they blocked a punt right before the half to go up 28-0, I think, at halftime. So I backed off on them, but I hopped on the Rams, and both of those teams ended up winning the second half. So the second half, these teams don't give up points. So I think if you can get through the first half, John, without too many points, you'll be fine. But look at a couple things here. Minus 129. Right now, the Patriots plus 11.5 are minus 129. So if you say, you know what, I think the Patriots are going to score all the way to the end, they're going to give it a shot, then, minus 129 is not bad for a team that's already losing 10-0. And then on the other side, the Rams, they're up 10-0. If you think they're going to score another touchdown and win by 17, you can get that at plus 127 right now, 15.5. So those are a couple things that you could look at. Now, the event just got locked on me. So as you know, that I don't have the game on, so that could be something happen, a turnover or whatever. You never really know. Excuse me. So what we'll do is we'll pay attention to that. We'll pay attention to that when we get going. Now, one of the things that we would normally do right about now is we would take a break and we would do the commercials for our championship footballs. And what we can do, though, is technology is not failing us miserably on the video side. It's failing us miserably on the audio side. So one of the things that we could do is we could go to our Zoom.
We'll just blame it on COVID.
Yeah, you know what? Of course we could.
2020. It's 2020.
So here's what I can do. Okay. So I'm sharing the screen. Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sports Betting Weekly is sponsored by ChampionshipFootballs.com. ChampionshipFootballs.com for your special teams, special season. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Use Belly Up, or you Belly, Belly, use Belly for the Belly Up Sports promo code and get 10% off site-wide. ChampionshipFootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. All right, that's the main reason why I don't do voiceover work right there. All right, so we're going to finish up with our, we got two things we want to do. We're going to talk about the NCAA because this is the last full week. We're going to talk about what's ahead for the NCAA, and then we're going to finish up with a kind of a speed round because there's 32 answers. I'm going to ask each of you guys for a team, and I'm going to ask you to give me one word to describe that team. So first, let's talk NCAA. Are you going to have much action, John, on the NCAA this weekend?
For me personally, probably not. Like I said, I've been having a little bit of a tough time with NCAA football for me this year. So if we do have some plays, it's going to be very, very light. I haven't looked ahead. I normally won't start looking until probably later tonight, early tomorrow morning for Saturday. But I'm playing college football myself very, very light. I think Wes, obviously, he seems like he's got a pretty good grasp on that. So I'm going to kind of hand the ball off to Wes and let him lead the college football Saturday plays off over there.
Well, no, I would imagine if we're at Wes's wake, he'll have action on college football if they bury him on a Saturday, you know?
Well, and that's for sure. In fact, when I got married, my wife made sure that we picked a date that there was a Saturday, but it was after college football, but before my actually busy season starts with work. I mean, you married a good one when that takes place.
No doubt about it. So I looked, and I know that, normally, college football, the bowl games will be starting in about a week and a half. And the Army-Navy game would have been Saturday. So what are you thinking this week? Have you looked yet? Are you going to play it?
Yes, I have. I'm not going to play the Army-Navy game. That was a walk away for me, and it wasn't because I'm not interested in the game. I'll have it just as a patriot and a sports fan. But there's a couple college games that I really do like. The one that I like the most is LSU getting 24.5 points. I think that Florida is looking forward to this showdown with Bama. So this game's a little trappy. But what was interesting is if you look at the last 3 Florida wins, they've had an average point margin of 15.6. Their overall point differential this season by average is 16.8. But LSU is getting 24.5 against Florida. in this trappy situation. Love LSU in this situation. And the other one that I'm looking at is Memphis. I'm looking at Memphis and 14.5 for the first half. These are two teams that have no defense. In fact, I think you might get expelled at Houston or Memphis if you play any form of defense this season. But Memphis is over 14.5 for the first half. I love that play. And what's great about these first half wagers is about an hour and a half into it, you get paid.
No, and those first half bets are really important when you're looking to keep the momentum going, because then no matter what happens with the game, you're gonna have a ticket to cash. You're gonna be able to bet. There's nothing worse than you get shut out because your money management didn't leave any money in your pocket. You got tickets that are good, but the game kicks off that you wanted to bet before. And that's the one thing, Wes, that I noticed about the sports book. Live action, you're doing it mobile. You're not doing it at the window.
Well,
they have very few options.
So, but the mobile, that's not going to offend me. I'm perfectly happy to take the free drink ticket on my pre-game action. You look at this Pitt Georgia Tech game that's happening. Pitt kicked the field goal, so it was 3-0. Then Georgia Tech goes 7-3. This pre-game was 7.5. I'm on Pitt right now, 3.5 for the game, and I also got on them just simply a half a point for the first half. This is a 7.5 point favorite. So Vegas is wonderful. I look forward to seeing you here in a few weeks in Vegas. You too, Johnny. But at the same time, if the mobile's going to give me the opportunity to get paid, my love for Vegas, I can't take my love for Vegas to T-Mobile and pay my cell bill with it.
No doubt about it. And the funny part, you mentioned that Florida's defense is not going to win them a game. And the problem is Alabama's defense will. So, let's talk about looking ahead now. So we're going to make it through this weekend. I mean, it's very possible that I could be doing a championship football's NCAA championship with a team that's 7 or 8-0.
You very well could be. And I find it hard to pick a team against Alabama right now. I don't know that anybody could outright beat Alabama. Their defense is always solid, but what their offense is doing right now and losing their number one receiver, how they're playing offense. And they got a running back that's going to light it up in the NFL. Like Alabama, just every year they produce a Pro Bowl running back and wide receiver. And we could just start naming names all the way back for the last 10 years. But I mean, you got to think Alabama's going to win the whole thing. I bleed Ohio State. I named my dog Dobbins. I mean, I bleed Ohio State. But, they're going to have to play Bama in the first round of the playoffs. So Florida's looking forward to next week. And they're probably right in looking forward to next week because they could sleepwalk into this game with LSU and win it. But I don't know that there's value in some of these future investments because you're not going to win it if you're betting against Alabama. I just don't think you are. Bet against Notre Dame. I mean, I like them to be on the outside looking in. I don't think the second time around against Clemson is going to look the same. And I think that Notre Dame is going to face a world of problems against Ohio State. Or if Ohio State flunks out somehow, I think Notre Dame's going to face a world of problems against A&M or Florida.
Yeah, they did have one prop bet that I saw up on the board where it was, these are the 4 teams, the top 4. Will they win the championship? Won't they win? So they had 8 different point spreads, 8 different money line, 8 different money line plays. And Notre Dame, is the. It's funny. I'll never forget watching the election night. Gambling Twitter was calling the election way before NBC or CBS or CNN were, because they were following the money. And what do you always do in life? You follow the money.
Yeah. And, we're talking about live action, that 11.5, I jumped on the 10.5 for the first half, right when the Rams scored. And you see what's happening right now. Common sense in this game, and I apologize to change the subject, but common sense is the odds makers have it at 4.5. Well, that thing jumps to 10.5 or even 11.5. The odds makers are wrong, but not that often and not that big. The odds makers are not the weatherman where they get a margin of low of 40 and a high of 70. It doesn't work that way in Vegas. So you get an opportunity like that, you take it. I don't know that New England wins this game, but 10.5, that was a gift a couple minutes ago that some people may have missed.
All right, so let's finish up. What we're going to do is we're going to do NFL A to Z. We're going to go John. So John's going to have Arizona. Then Wes will have Atlanta. Then I'll have Baltimore. So we're going to go one team at a time. And so I'm going to start with John. Then we're going to do Wes. Then we're going to do me. And then we're going to keep going like that. So we're going to each have to come up with 10 words. I want one word to describe this team. And I don't care what you're describing. You could be the past, the present, the future, whatever. Talk to me, John. One word, Arizona Cardinals.
Arizona, I say underrated.
West, Atlanta.
Coaching.
I got Baltimore.
Is that for you, Chaz?
That's me. I'm going untrustful. Is that a word?
There you go.
It is now. We'll
there we go, baby. Copyright untrustful. Baltimore untrustful. All right, so then we got Buffalo for John. Buffalo Bills.
Circle the wagon. More than one word, I guess. But I like Buffalo. They're impressive. I love them this year.
Impressive works. Impressive. We'll take impressive. Carolina, Wes.
Future.
Chicago for me. Same. I'm going to just say same. I have not seen anything about the Bears that I haven't seen over the last 5 years. Cincinnati, John.
There's so many. I would say kind of disappointing, and just because Burrow got injured. You know,
disappointing works. Cleveland, Wes.
Fantastic. They got a lot ahead of them. That's a real football team. Fantastic. That's
fantastic. Well, I'm going to use the same letter. I'm going to call Dallas funny because sad. I want to save sad for somebody else, but I'm going to say funny. All right. So, John, Denver.
Denver. I got to be kind about Denver because my wife is a Denver fan and her family is from Denver. So I'm going to go with future as well. I think the future is bright if they can keep their players healthy.
Well, Chaz, my son is a Broncos fan, and he bet against them, and it killed him, man. All right, yeah. Wes, Detroit.
Stupid. I'm sorry. I know that's the wrong thing to say, but
no.
There's no right or wrong answers. I think that's pretty good.
I just come on. You miss on a head coach. You're paying the last 3 head coaches you fired. Yeah. You draft a corner in the first round. I mean, stupid. I'm sorry.
So I'm going to say for Green Bay, I'm going to say wannabes. So I spelled it WANNABEES. One word, wannabes. Houston, John.
Injuries.
Colts. Yeah. Wes.
Very scary. One word. Very scary.
There you go. Jacksonville. I'm just going to say Jaguars because everybody knows that is a bad word. Mm-hmm. All right, John. Kansas City.
Champs.
Attaboy.
Wes. Chargers.
Champs.
West, what was Chargers.
Growing.
All right, I'm going to put for the Rams. My word for the Rams. I'm watching the Rams. I'm going to say nope. 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 Okay, John, Miami.
Optimistic. I think they have a very good team here and very optimistic about their future.
Minnesota, West.
Dangerous.
All right, I'm putting down for New England next because this year I don't think they got anything they're going to do. All right, New Orleans, John.
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to say pretenders. I don't think they're as good as their record indicates. Their defense is good, but I don't know.
Giants.
I'm going to say pretend.
The Giants?
Yep.
Champions. Of the division, of course.
The division works. We'll say division. All right. For the Jets, I'm going to put losers. Oakland. John, Oakland.
Oakland, Vegas. Let's go. One word, Vegas. Let's go.
There you go. Philadelphia Eagles, Wes.
Quarterback change.
Change. All right. I'm going to say Pittsburgh. I'm going to say not. NOT, because they're not undefeated anymore. San Francisco, John.
San Francisco.
One
Probably
word.
the best 5-17 out there. Jesus, what can I say? I'm gonna go with disappointing.
All right, there you go. Seattle, Wes.
Defense.
Tampa Bay, I'm going to say Brady, because I think they're only going to as far as Brady takes them. Tennessee, John.
Tennessee, Henry, beast mode.
And then last, Washington, Wes.
Dominant.
All right, so here's where we're at. It's Sports Betting Weekly. John from GMF Sports. Check him out on Instagram and save $50 for the rest of the year on his picks. You can follow Blackhawk West. He's a little bit of everywhere. He's got 4 or 5 Twitter handles, but if you hit him up, he'll let you know what they are. I am Second Half Chaz. You've been listening to Sports Betting Weekly. Belly Up Sports on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Always be cashing.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. As always, I appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Always. Good night.